What's going on, everybody out there, and welcome back to another episode of the Dark Avenger comic book review series, the show where I like to talk about all the comics I read in the previous week. We're actually back on time almost. As I'm recording this video, it's Tuesday. Tomorrow's New Comic Book Day. You all are probably watching this, though, on Wednesday, New Comic Book Day, which means we've caught up. I'm very happy. But anyway, this episode 529... 529. You knew I had to do that, right? This is only going to come around once every so often. So yes, episode 529. The books in this review were released on May 15, 2024. And we've got a nice amount of physical books this week, which is makes me very happy, so I can show off some artwork. So let's waste no time and catch up. This way, hopefully, maybe we can get the review back to the actual day I want to upload it. So we're going to start off with the Independents as always, and we're going to start off with G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero, issue number 306. Now, it's been coming out from Image. See, I almost said IDW. That's where it used to come out from. It's been coming out from Image now for several months. I've been reading. I've been loving the artwork. So far, we've got a world divided here. We've got the issue opens up with Zartan being chased by a heat-seeking missile, and we don't know who did it. It looks like they're trying to frame Despero. So we've got Cobra Island that's being run by Commander, I believe it's Serpentor Khan. We've got Despero, who has his part of the world, and then we have Cobra Commander, who's hiding out in Springfield, and then of course there's the Joes, who are kind of in between the whole thing. So this has been a very interesting book, I will say. So we've got Serpentor Khan creating these like cybernetic mutant Cobra, what do you call, soldiers. We've got him sending off some type of a fake Zartan to try to enlist Despero against him, or Despero. I'm sorry if I'm pronouncing the name wrong, but my favorite part has to be the middle of the book where we get to see Snake Eyes just doing what he does best, and it's all training, and he's with Scarlet, and they're having, like, they're talking about guns, they're talking about how he's changed up his arsenal a bit, and then we're back in Springfield for a bit, but mostly we've also got this computer. I forget the computer's name. Give me a second. Revenge, who is working with Serpentor Khan, but he's manipulating the cybernetics. So we've got a lot of stuff going on in this book. And then we also have a group of Joes that are dropping into Cobra Island as well. And it looks like Zartan might be teaming up with somebody. I'm not going to spoil who in this book, but I'm really glad to be back in G.I. Joe. I love the artwork, love the story, and I will say there are new miniseries coming out. We've got Scarlet. Do we have? Yes, and we have Deathstroke. I've been calling him Despero. It's Destro. See, this is what happens when you're trying to race to get to the get back on time with things. So forgive me, all Joe fans. I'm sorry. It's been a long time since I've read G.I. Joe anyway. So I'm looking forward to the miniseries. And I'm very happy with where G.I. Joe is going. If you're a fan of the book, if you're a fan of the series, you'll be reading G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero. The next two books are digital, so we're going to start with Godzilla's 70th anniversary. It's a one-shot. It's amazing. It's a bunch of different stories by a bunch of really awesome creators, all celebrating the 70th anniversary. I almost said 17th. 70th anniversary of Godzilla. I loved this book. There's a lot of great art. There's a lot of great stories. If you're a fan of Godzilla, definitely pick this book up. I do not have my physical copy yet, but I will be getting my physical copy soon. Really awesome if you're a fan of Godzilla. Like I said, I could sit here and talk about all the stories all day long. It was a very long book. It is about a $10 book almost. Worth it 100%, because you got a lot of really awesome Godzilla stories. There was one about a cleanup crew that had me laughing. One with, oh my God, that's connecting to a future story possibly. A lot of really good stuff. And then I keep reaching because I'm not ready yet though. Thundercats issue number 4. I'm really on the cusp of possibly dropping Thundercats. I'm not really feeling this Dynamite series. I've been trying it. I've been reading it. the stories have been very short. The books are, I mean, the covers have been great and all, but like, and I mentioned this, I think, when I was doing a video or a live show once, a lot of really thick cover. It's like a thick cover, but then you open up the cover and you look at how much stories in there for like $6 book if you're getting the foil, and it's not a lot of story. We had a big fight in this issue. There were some really great character development moments between Lion-O and a few other characters. And then we have this new character that was brought out for this series. Mumra and Lion-O have their big fight towards the end of the book. And of course, the Thundercats are trying to find their way home. I'm going to see where the next issue goes because I believe we're going to be heading into something new with issue 5. However, if it does not hold me, more than likely, I'm going to be letting go of Thundercats. X-O Manowar, issue number 1. I loved X-O Manowar, the previous volume. Unfortunately, I stopped reading it after, the review ended. And that was a long time ago. So the world thinks that Arik is dead. He's on a different planet. His armor is barely charged. And he's just, honestly, from what I'm understanding, he is just fighting till he dies. And that's what the goal apparently possibly is. And he's reaching out for for someone in this book. I won't spoil who. I almost did. And I like how Ivar, Time Walker, or the time traveler, shows up and tells X-O, we need to get together. Something's going on. And then he disappears in time. And now a ship appears out of nowhere towards the end of the book. And we've got X-O back in his suit. He gets his suit back on and he goes off into space and the ship lands. And this person's in like a suit and he's like, we have to talk. There's something really important. And that's kind of where the book kind of lulls off. I was worried it wasn't going to hold my interest, especially because I was so lost at first where Arik was and what was going on because I didn't read the previous series. I'm happy to say that I'm actually very happy with where this book's going. I'm interested and I'm looking forward to issue number 2. And now we have Action Comics 1065, continuing the House of Brainiac. Brainiac wants to take the powers from all the superpower beings in Metropolis in order to save something. I will say that towards the end of the book, but it's in order to save a specific thing that he's been holding on to. And you've got Superman teaming up with Lobo to find out where Brainiac's going and to stop the I forget what they're called, the Kaluan army, basically the race of Lobos, basically. Superboy and Supergirl are super small, and we actually get to see a little bit of a appearance with the Doom Hounds. Haven't seen them in forever. And I will say this also, one thing I really did like, and it was in this panel, was we get to see all the different, let's see if I can get the camera to focus in on it. It's not going to work, is it? Nope, not going to work. We get to see all the different versions of Brainiac. Oh, there we go. All the different versions of Brainiac from way back. I mean, we've got the Alex Ross one. We've got the one from the 90s, the one from 2000, all the different Brainiacs in one place. And obviously it's to keep Brainiac going and also to fulfill his want, which is basically to bring back, I'm sorry, that's right, his race is the Kaluan race. So it's to bring back a city that he rescued before his race was exterminated. Kolu, maybe. And Supergirl ends up taking Lex Luthor and disappears. And then unfortunately the ending to this book, kind of the next cover spoils it. We're going to get Lobo versus Superman. I won't say why. And then there's a small backup story involving Viral Dox, which is the son of Brainiac. And I like that story too. It kind of ends sad, though. I don't want to say what happens, but I'm really enjoying the House of Brainiac. Really, really, really good stuff. Venom Separation Anxiety, issue number 1. I'm on the fence with this series, honestly. Again, it's another mini-series from Venom taking place back in time where, Eddie Brock was Venom and he's just becoming the Lethal Protector. He still is not exactly the biggest fan of Peter Parker. The world is still scared of him. His friends don't want to be bothered by him. And then he ends up in an area. He's working with his friend Maxie, or Joy. I'm sorry, not Max. Joy, who takes him. She wanted him to take pictures with him, and then of course, Purple Man shows up and somehow gets his hands on a piece of Venom's symbiote. There's also another character that shows up. We get a really cool fight between Rhino and Venom. The artwork, it feels like a Venom book. Let me put it that way. The artwork does not surprise me when it comes to Venom. Uh, but Purple Man gets his hands on a piece of Venom's symbiote, and that's where I believe this book is going. I mean, we saw it in the description already that Venom is going to be fighting Purple Man, who takes a piece of his symbiote. So that's basically what the gist of this Separation Anxiety mini is going to be. I'm going to come in for the second issue, see what happens. I'm on the fence. I'm really on the fence. But it was a solid first issue. Something I am enjoying a lot is Venom What If. I've been enjoying the previous 3 issues. This issue goes inside the head of Moon Knight, and I'm a huge fan of Moon Knight, especially after the Disney Plus series, and I've also been reading a bit of Moon Knight here, there, and everywhere. So Loki right now is possessed by the Venom symbiote, and they're inside of Moon Knight's head, which is really cool because he keeps repeating every time he comes up against Loki, it rewinds time, so to speak, and he's back in the same spot over and over and over again until finally he kind of snaps and says, okay, I'm not dealing with this, and finally finds a way to kind of break the cycle inside of his psyche, which I thought was really cool. And it involves an object, and I love it. I love how Moon Knight finally snaps out of it. And we find Mark at the end of the book, and we find out that he's being seduced. And then the next issue, the grand finale, is going to involve the symbiote bonding with Moon Knight. So I'm guessing that it's going to leave Loki and bond with Moon Knight. And we did get to see little snippets of previous issues with Wolverine and Doctor Strange, everybody, and She-Hulk, the ones that were possessed previous. Excellent What If series. I've been enjoying it a lot. Something I definitely would recommend everybody to give a check out to. And I actually have something special when it comes to What If Wolverine. Now that we're caught up with reviews and stuff, we're going to start doing some newer stuff on, like, returning stuff and newer stuff on the channel. So there is something, and I might actually do the video for it this weekend. So stay tuned. And then finally this week, and I was really worried going into this. I wasn't sure I was going to like it, but I actually did. And that's Amazing Spider-Man Blood Hunt issue #1, taking up right where Amazing Spider-Man 49 left off. Spidey versus the Lizard. And apparently, for some reason, I did not know this. I haven't been reading Spider-Man, but Kurt Connors and the Lizard have split. Don't know how that happened. Don't know. Haven't been reading long enough. But Misty Moon is also involved, obviously, in the series. And she's teaming up with Lizard to find Morbius, because Morbius apparently has found a cure for the vampire infection. However, Spidey feels like Misty's not telling him something. Book is action-packed. The artwork, which is what I'm trying to find, a nice page maybe. You got some really, really, really good action in this book. Give me something. Come on. No, that's not. Let's go back to the fight over here then. You got some really nice action in this book. A lot of Spidey versus vampires. I really like the Lizard. We do find out that Misty was looking somebody else up in the book. Not going to spoil that in this issue. I will say the artist, which is, it's Ferreira. I want to say the name right. The penciler is Marcelo Ferreira. Very good. Justina Ireland writes this miniseries. Very, very interested in what's to come. And then we get a backup story where we find out that Morbius, we see what's going on with Morbius. And he is captured with someone else. Well, you saw who he's captured with. And he ends up in a precarious position by the end of the book. He comes face to face with somebody. I'm not going to spoil here, but he is one of the masters in that, the one that wanted to catch Morbius, the one that was looking for him and holds him captive. So I did like that. Excellent book. My out of the big two, between this and the Brainiac, though, it's hard. So you know what? We're going to leave it at that. But with that, we're done with this week's books. Really solid week with only one book that is very close to being dropped and two books that I'm on. Well, one book that I'm really on the fence with. Good stuff. So let's do the round out and then we will end this episode. So Amazing Spider-Man Blood Hunt, issue number 1 of 3. Loved it. Definitely something I would say check out if you're a fan of Spider-Man. Do you have to read this to know what's going on in Blood Hunt? No. Again, read the miniseries and tie-ins that resonate with you. That's it. You don't have to read all 60 books. What If Venom, issue number 4. I've been loving this miniseries. Definitely something I would say check out. Venom Separation Anxiety, issue number 1. I'm going to stick around for issue number 2 and see where we go from there. Action Comics 1065. I'm loving the Brainiac, what do you call it? The House of Brainiac saga. Definitely highly recommended. Exo Manowar issue number 1 was a solid first issue. Definitely something I'd recommend. Thundercats issue number 4, I'm on the fence with. The next issue is going to make or break the series for me. Godzilla 70th anniversary, the one-shot. I loved it. If you're a Godzilla fan, you'll love it too. Definitely something you'll want to pick up. And finally, G.I. Joe, Real American Hero, issue 306. Loved it. Loved G.I. Joe. And that is a review, everyone. So as always, links in the description below for all social media and other places where you can find me. Don't forget, if you're new to the channel, click that sub button. This way, the videos are in your subscription page and you won't miss out on a single video. However, if you really want to make sure you don't miss out on a single video, there's a bell down there. Click the notification bell and you'll be notified when the videos go up. So this way you don't miss them 100%. And as always, if you like the video, feel free to give it a thumbs up. Till next time, everybody, take care. Keep reading, keep collecting, and I will see all of you really soon in the next video.